welcome to ESO Daily. I am your host, Mr. Graven. Alright, disclaimer guys, my granddaughter is here. She's beside me. If you guys hear a baby in the background, that's why. Alright, going to do a quick video on my updated version of the Oppressor build. And it's kind of important that I kind of cover this because yesterday I did a video showing that trial builds and trial sets aren't always going to outperform dungeon sets. I had somebody posted about a Vicious, Ophidian, and Two Fang, and it's a great setup. I'm not debating that. I don't like Two Fang personally. That's my personal preference. I'd rather use Spriggans and Vicious Ophidian in certain scenarios, but regardless, guys, it's 1,000 damage difference on one ability. You don't think that it's going to apply? Of course it is. Come on now. Come on now. But does that mean trial sets are trash? I'm on the PS. I can't see your comment. Does that mean trial sets are trash? No. It means specifically they're going to be more beneficial in certain scenarios. And with this build, with the Oppressor, I'm going to show you exactly why I will still use trial sets in vet trials and in certain scenarios. It's not always going to be the reason. I'm not always going to use a trial set in all of my builds. It's going to be situational, and that's what I play to. What I need, what the group needs, and how I adjust those builds accordingly. So with this build, I'm going to go ahead and get into it. Alright, so we got our character sheet. My max health slightly under. I'd probably glyph up and readjust that, but it's fine. I'm between 19 and 20. I like to be 19.5. I'll probably glyph something or reallocate a few points. But ideally, I like to stay between 19.5 and 20. But with this, I'm currently at 19,160. Max stamina is at 33,203. To the left, you're going to see my stamina recovery at 12,029. You're also going to see my weapon crit at 61.5 on both sides, and weapon damage on both sides is 2,160. To the left, you're going to see everything allocated at stamina. You can offset a few points to get up to the 19.5. That's my recommendation, but you know, I just didn't get a chance to do it. And the Mundus, we're going to be running max health, max stamina food, and I'm running the Lover Mundus. This increases my physical and spell penetration by 3,728. I cannot stress enough the importance of this Mundus, given the fact that Sharpen has got a nerf. This is very, very important for stamina players. Just very. Okay. On the dual side, I'm running dual axes. And you're going to go ahead and see that my health remains the same. My stamina is 33.2. Stamina recovery is 12.29. Weapon crit 56.5. I like to stay between 55.5 and 60. But the Nightblade gets a boost, so it slightly takes me over. But that's fine. It is what it is. Weapon damage without any buffs or builders is sitting at 2,804. Alright, now we're going to go ahead and get into the sets. I'm going to be using Night Mothers and, of course, Vicious Ophidian along with Krogs. Let me go ahead and get into it piece by piece. Okay, so we know that Sharpen took a hit, but guess what got bumped? Nirnhone. So I'm going to go ahead and craft the Night Mother set with the Nirnhone trait. This is going to increase the base value of all my damaging effects by 15%. This is huge, guys. Crafted sets. Remember, a lot of people in the beginning said that Nirnhone was going to be like good for PvP, but not for PvE. That's bullshit. That's so bullshit. Don't believe it. But now they got a different tune. They're singing a different tune. But I always told you guys in the beginning, if you're going to run a crafted set, Nirnhone is going to come out strong. And believe you and me, I didn't disappoint you guys. But I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to enchant this with increase. And it is Nirnhone. Alright. So then I'm going to use the axes. The reason I want to use axes instead of maces. I can use maces, but keep in mind I'm using the Night Mother set. The Night Mother is my crit set. It's going to give me crit. It's going to give me a weapon damage, crit. And when I deal critical damage, I reduce the enemy's physical resistance by 2,550 for 6 seconds. This is applied to my entire party. I built this specifically to help the other stamina DPS increase their damage by penetrating values. I don't know what their penetrating value is. This is why Night Mothers is a great set for at least one stamina player to use this in a trial. And guess what? I have it, and it's on this tune, and if it needs to be in there, it will be. But I use the axes to help proc the Krogs. Now, I do have the Nirnhorn in the main. You want to make sure that your Nirnhorn is always in your main hand. Also, I'm going to be using the Axe of Vicious Ophidian. This is sharpened. Ideally, I want to charge. The charge is going to help me apply the bleeding status effect. So right now I have it in sharpened, but it's not ideal. I did have it gold because at one time it was ideal. That's no longer the case. Sorry, guys. My granddaughter is very talkative. All right. 1 second. All right, now I also have the light Krog's head in Divine. This is once again, I'm kind of debated whether to go Infused or Divine. Currently I have it Divine, that's why I haven't golded it. I'm always kind of debating, but I want the light and I want the heavy shoulders. This is Glyphed Health, Divine, that is ideal. The reason I want to do it is for the Undaunted passive, so I can get the Undaunted Mental, which increases all my base stats by 6%. Also, I'm using the Jack of Vicious Ophidian Infused. This is ideal. I never go all Divine. The reason being, I want to increase my max stat pool, so I always have at least 2 pieces infused. That's usually my head, my chest, my legs. Those are the biggest pieces. I want to capitalize on that. I only lose a few points, but the resource management makes it a lot more reasonable for me. So I go Fused. If you want to go Divine, have at it. Also, I'm going to be running the Belt of Night Mothers once again. I ran out of Drew Wax. I just have too many tunes. This should be gold, Glyphed Health, Divine. I also have the Bracers of Night Mothers, Glyphed Health, Divine. I also have the Guards of Night Mothers, Infused, Stamina. I have the Feet of Night Mothers, Divine, Glyphed Health. Now, here's the big one for me. As you can see by my skin, I am a vampire. So I'm using my purple Vicious Ophidian necklace. Why? Because I'm glyphing it with flame resistance. I want to try to negate as much fire damage as possible, especially if I'm going to be running a trial like Hell Ra Citadel. So that's why I went ahead with the flame resistance, and that's why I'm putting on my purple necklace. Now, if you don't want to be a vampire, you don't need to glyph a flame resistance. I would suggest extra weapon damage. Also, I'm going to be using the Ring of Vicious Ophidian, Stamina Recovery, and I'm going to be using another Ring of Vicious Ophidian, and that's weapon damage. Okay, so that's the set, how it's set up. Let's go ahead and get into the skills. On the dual bar, I'm going to be running the Shrouded Daggers. This is my builder. What it does is it's going to go ahead and deal 7,322 physical damage, reducing their movement speed. It can bounce up to 2 times, dealing 8-7 on first and 10-5 on the second. It also gives me my major brutality. So it gives me a buff and applies damage, hence why it's called a builder. If you would like to call it a buff, by all means, go ahead. It does apply a buff. It just has a damaging effect. Rapid Strikes, this is my spammable. Pretty standard. Whirling Blades, I prefer the Whirling over Steel Tornado. If you want a little bit more damage, you can go with Steel Tornado. I just like the Major Endurance because that's going to give me a 20% increase to my stamina recovery. Also, I'm going to be using Killer Blade as a finisher, and keep in mind, in Assassination, into the passives, I increase my weapon and spell damage. No, that's not one it. Increase my weapon and spell critical rating while I have a Assassination ability slotted. That's why I went ahead and put the Killer Blade on this bar for my finisher, and of course Camouflage Hunter is on both bars, and I'm going to take advantage of the Flawless Dawnbreaker on this bar because I'm going to go ahead and get that 5% increase, and I'm going to also get 6% in the Fighters Guild passive for Slayer. Now on the back bar, I'm going to be using the Rearming Trap. If you want to use Lightweight Beast Trap, that's fine. The only thing about it is it doesn't have a rearming effect. You'll have to reapply it. That costs stamina, so that's completely optional, but it has a longer range. It's kind of beneficial in certain scenarios. But I put the Rearming Trap. I also have the Poison Injector. We have the Endless Hail. And of course, the Relentless Focus. Now, this is a big one for me because it gives me the Berserk, the Minor Berserk, and the Minor Endurance. Right? So when I do this, I'm getting an additional recovery, right? Because keep in mind, this one is giving me the major, and this one is giving me the minor. So I have both endurance buffs applied. Once again, Camouflage Hunters on both bars, and of course I use the Ballista as the ultimate, as my primary ultimate. Now also we're going to go ahead and get into the champion points here. A lot of things have changed, that's why I'm updating it. I have nothing into the Apprentice. Coming over into the Astronaut, I have 66 points at Master of Arms. This is a direct damage build, burst build. Once again, sorry. Physical weapon experts at 6. I want 75 points in here. Why? Because I'm going to get the Butcher. It's going to give me an extra 5% towards my light and heavy attacks when enemies are below 25% health. That comes in handy when I'm weaving out throughout my rotation. It's just giving me an extra damage spike, so I'm going to take advantage of that. Now, since I am running the Lover, and I also have Krogs, and I also have Night Mothers, I'm able to scale down my piercing a lot better. So I'm going to go ahead and take that up to 49 points at 3,906. Now keep in mind I'm using Nirnholm, right? So since I'm getting the extra weapon damage, I can scale back the Mighty from 13 to 12. That allows me to increase my critical damage with precise strikes up to 1602 with 40 points allocated. Now, coming over to the Steed, I have 44 points in Ironclad, reducing my direct damage by 17.17. I had 1 point left. I put it in medium armor focus. I have Hardy at 1110, but since I am a vampire, I want to put a little bit more into Elemental Defender at 1407. Thick Skin, I'll be up in the thick of stuff. So all of a sudden, I may or may not, you know, bump into direct damaging effects, so I'm going to take Thick Skin up to 8.23. Also, I'm going to look at putting into Quick Recovery. I am a vampire, also I'm a DPS. I just want to capitalize on some healing received, so I'm going to take that up to 8.12. If you don't want to do that and focus a little bit more on your resistance, by all means, go for it. Warlord, I'm going to reduce the cost of Break Freeze by 904. I'm going to take advantage of Sprinter because, once again, it's about conservation for stamina. If I have to keep running up and down between mobs, that's burning my stamina, so I'm going to reduce that by 7.33 with 11 points allocated. I'm going to take Tenacity up to 11.10. Remember, I'm on the Nightblade, I'm getting both recoveries, so I don't need Tenacity up as high, so I'm going to take that 1110, but I do want my other stamina recovery up high. I never go 100. Why? Because of diminishing returns. So I'm looking at 1407, and Healthy is at 1110. I had a few points left, so I put 2 into Shadow Ward, and Tumbling I'm going to roll in and out of mechanics, so I'm going to reduce the cost by 6.11, and that is how the champion points are spent. Now, I doubt I get a dungeon. I really highly doubt it. But for the most part, guys, this is kind of important to understand that trial sets are still viable. Nobody's ever going to say they're not, right? Nobody's going to say that. Nobody is. It's a trial set, right? And like Alkosh, I use the Alkosh on my Stamp Sork. Why? Because, one second.
I never put that lair is... Kale Stick, the vampire.
Kale Stick, then invoke.
Okay, she's a little fussy today. Anyways, so I've queued them up. I don't know if I'm going to get them, but like like one person commented, I'm like, no one's going to say trial sets are irrelevant. They're just not always going to be the option. Like Alkosh on my Stamp Sork. You only need one person with Alkosh in a trial, right? You only need one person. And if nobody else has it, I'm going to pull in my Stamsork to do it. Why? Because that applied debuff affects my entire party. I want to utilize that to my party's advantage. So it's a good trial set in that scenario. Also, some of the new ones from Halls of Fabrication. When you're using an ultimate, it's applying a buff to your party members, right? That increases their damage. You will lose out on upfront damage, but what you're offering your party is substantial. That is what I'm trying to tell you guys. Okay? And once again, Outcast and Gilliam and all of us are telling you guys it's not always going to be the best scenario for every scenario. Meaning a trial set might not be optimal for a vet run. Vet sets might not be optimal for trials depending on what your party needs. This is what we're trying to tell you guys. Okay? Meta is dead. Okay, don't need to be in there. Let's make sure my food buff's up. We'll reapply. But yeah, meta's dead, guys. It's dead. We're telling you this. We're telling you. Everybody's having a hard time finding out what's BIS. Well, there's no fucking BIS, man. That's everything's circumstantial, guys. And I always tell my viewers, think of Full Metal Alchemist about equivalent exchange. What you give up, what you gain in one aspect, you have to have an equivalent loss somewhere in this game. It's the way it's designed. Right, guys? Come on, man. What's up with my weaving lately, man? It's either my controller or something. Fuck. Sure, let's pull it out of the way. Stuff there. Couple little mistakes. I have too many tunes. Sometimes I'll mess up rotations. Some of them are similar, so it's not too bad. One always makes it. Always. Gonna skip them? That's fine. I'm cool with it. Whatever. Go, go. Okay, I want to make sure I get that builder out there before I hit the ultimate. It's my daughter. She gets cranky, especially if you say no. Don't say no to a baby. They learn that word real quick. My daughter's pretty good, though. She's a good mother. So annoying. Ow. Dude, biffed it. Just keep me healed, dude. Scan. What in the hell is up with my weave? What? I'm telling you, man, something's weird with this targeting. Almost 42k on my finisher. Pretty good. Yeah, take him down. Is that a Sork healer? I think it is. It is a sorcerer healer with the Twilight. He's double queued, but he's got his Twilight. Alright, dude, I give it up to you, man. Sork healer! Shut up! Who knew? No, please don't skip that. Shit, fuck it. Whatever. Ah, they're fucking running in. Alright, alright, alright. I'm like, what the hell? Shit, I'm in the wrong bar. Sometimes my hands just go. You can fuck up rotations just trying to... whatever. Muscle memorization is kind of good. Once you know, ugh. A little bit of, look, like right there I was holding my trigger and it just froze. It just froze up some, I don't know what is going on. It's always on my dual too. Sometimes there's a chest back here. Not today. Okay, I got a reserve here, so I got to play smart. Got to weave up heavy, you know, at certain times. Make sure I break. This is very, very important on this boss. I'm a stand player. I need to conserve as much as possible. This Ophidian will help me with the ads, you know, giving back some stamina, but you got to watch these pulls, man. I haven't seen her teleport yet, so it's kind of weird to me. Wrong bar. Want to weave up a little bit. Take that. teleport. I might have messed up right there. I'm afraid to go in and... Okay, give me that charge. Got it. Oh, wait a minute. Infused. Ah, I don't have a take on here with that, but, you know, invigorating, whatever. Get a little scared on that boss, man. You can, especially if you don't see orbs or shards. Sword healers. He did a damn good job. Did really good, actually. The only thing he could probably use was the orbs, but he's set up. Look at him. He's got the worm. He's got the twilight, man. Yeah, I mean, seriously. You know, it works out. It worked out really good. But I'm actually going to do Spindle later. But good run. Solid team. Solid team, man. Solid. It always helps when you get players who know what they're doing. But, yeah, guys, so nobody's saying, there is not one of us saying that a trial set is bad. Not one of us is saying that. There's none of us saying it. The only thing we're saying is it's situational, circumstantial. It depends on scenarios. Trial sets are still good. Just dungeon sets can sometimes outperform trial sets. It's going to depend. Everything hinders on your group. That's what this game's designed to do. Like I said, meta is dead. Matter of fact, meta never was a fucking thing. They always said this meta, this meta, this meta. Just because some things change, they try to go ahead and try to capitalize on the changes. But that didn't mean that everything else prior to that was completely trash and garbage. That's what I'm trying to tell you guys. So trial sets are still good. I wouldn't tell you to trash your trial sets. There have been players who trashed it, but then later on, like Infallible Ether, everybody's like, oh, it's trash because who does a heavy attack? Because they spammed abilities. Well, now Infallible Ether is a little bit more attractive, isn't it? Why? Because you're doing heavy attacks. Well, you know, that just goes to show you shouldn't go ahead and assume anything. I don't want you guys to assume. I want to help you guys with your options and help you improve your gameplay. So long as you're hitting over 30k DPS on the average, you're usually fine. I'm on PC. There's people, we can post our individual parts. We don't have a group parser, but we can post our individual metrics. There's dudes hitting 45k. Believe it. Believe it. In some unconventional builds you wouldn't even think of. I am completely sometimes caught off guard by some of the builds that players will just do themselves. They'll take a static set, they'll pair it with something else for a utility or an increase, and they will and they just know their rotation. They only play that class. They know their rotation inside and out so well that makes up the difference. Remember, a lot of times when you're losing out on damage, it's due to downtime due to your rotation. That is a big hindrance on your damage output. And I'm always telling people, man, if sometimes it's not the sets you're wearing, it's your rotation, and you're just getting more fluent and comfortable with rotation. I'm not even all that good. I pull out some pretty decent stuff, but primarily I typically heal, tank, and then if I need the DPS, I do it. And I'm pretty good at DPS, so I'm more than happy with my DPS, especially with my builds. But yeah, there you go, guys. You know, this is the updated version of the Oppressor. And trial sets are still good. Just keep in mind, guys, that there are going to be occasions where a dungeon set is going to give out a little bit more upfront damage, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's always going to be better for group play. All right, that's what I'm going to tell you. I do want to thank you guys for watching today. If you have any questions or comments, post below. And once again and always, have a nice day.